So we've got some non-AI news for once this week.
Woo!
But again, about changes in the industry, which is that the founder and CEO of Buddy has stepped down after 7 years. So those of you that know Buddy, it's a payroll platform originally from Malta, but used quite a lot in the UK. On paper, this is a calm, respectful, orderly change, but it does signal something is possibly changing behind the scenes. Obviously, payroll is very fast moving. Software has to keep up with the changes, regulation heavy. And if you get it wrong, it's an absolute nightmare. So it's interesting that David stepped back, especially after 7 years of building that. And the other interesting thing is he's moving towards hospitality tech with the 16 group. And I know hospitality payroll is a whole other ballgame with rotas, labour costs, compliance, obviously a lot of national minimum wage issues, all those kind of things. So it's interesting that he's sort of sideways, as it was, into solving a different area. But what does that mean for Buddy itself? Jonathan and the team are obviously still involved, but is it a move for them? Is it going to be a sale, a pivot, a build on what they've got? But I think it's quite interesting that you're seeing a lot of kind of payroll only items and realize that actually, yes, you've got to do it really well. But as more and more comes into software themselves and the payroll functions within various bits of software become better, is there actually the space for that standalone software payroll offering?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, what more and more systems are starting to move towards is that embedded HR payroll solution. And I know Buddy kind of doing that on a very basic level, but the challenge we've got is that they're kind of going as a payroll bureau to market in the UK at least. And their angle is not a differentiator, I guess, against the systems out there. It's going, you're going to have to move away from traditional into cloud. If you're going to do that, look at us. I don't think it's a bad thing to do, but it's hard to get traction and trust in an area which is the highest risk for any accountancy firm or payroll bureau, is the fact that it has to do it right. It has to do it right. And I think that is where they like to see someone that's been around the market for a longer, that's going to build that brand. So it's always hard to build out and grow and scale. And maybe this is the result of that, or maybe he's just got fed up working with payroll bureaus. I could understand that, love you payroll bureaus, but having had to convince a payroll team to change system is been one of the most painful experiences of my life, because generally you just don't want to. You're churning things out so quickly. You need to know how it works. You don't want to go through that pain of change with the risks that's associated. So people just like to stay on legacy systems. Payroll I think, are the department inside an accountancy firm that's usually the ones on the oldest systems. It's a challenging area to fight in at the moment.
Well, let's speculate on that one, shall we? That watch this space. It could just be that Jonathan himself is the right person to lead the charge on this, because he's been dealing with more of these payroll bureaus, and what we're seeing is just like a changing of the guard, but actually not same. But I think there is a really interesting point about whether it can stay standalone for a long time, because as you said, Ryan, we do see some of these payroll softwares and they started to expand into things that are more HR related or adjacent markets. And we see that with our Employment Hero, who are doing a lot more targeting on payroll bureaus, and also HR. And they're probably, at least able to still stand up to market competitors. But there's been a lot of, again, acquisitions of payrolls and consolidating with HR. So it's interesting that Buddy is still payroll.
We'll have to find out when the red panda comes to the next event.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh God, slip of the tongue, red fox. There, that'll be the most insulting thing to them, I think.